Come to order. I ask you all please stand and join us for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I ask that everyone remain standing. We're just going to do a brief moment of silence right now. So former superintendent of this district, Robert Mahan, couldn't get it. Robert Mahan, he unfortunately he did pass away. And so he served this district as superintendent for 16 years. We'd just like to take a moment to recognize this man for what he did for our district and have a brief moment of silence. So please join me. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we have a lovely crowd here with us this evening, which is always wonderful to see at the board meetings, and I'm very excited to get into our recognitions and everything that we have like that. So no report from me today, but let's go to our student representatives report.
Okay, so first in clubs, coming up in late April, OTHS's International Night, which is sponsored by the Italian Club, Hispanic Culture Club, and Deeply Rooted Club. The Italian Club is taking its annual New York trip on April 25th. The class of 2025 are bringing back their chemo care packages, and they are accepting bottled waters, hand sanitizers, chapsticks, and countless other items. The Student Council is finishing up our preparations for the Spartan Olympics and our Spring Prep Rally, which are both on April 11th. The DECA officer team, alongside the state qualifying group of freshmen, will all be competing at DECA's International Conference in Orlando, Florida at the end of the month. And coming up on April 9th at 7 is the Girls Varsity Club fashion show at the middle school. And finally, the Coffee House is hosting their event on April 10th at 6 in the Black Box Theater at the high school.
In sports, most teams have had scrimmage games the past week to prepare for their upcoming spring schedule. The girls and boys lacrosse teams are prepping for their first games on Friday and Monday. The girls are away at Manalapan and the boys are away at Brick Township. Softball's first game is Thursday at Toms River South and baseball's is Monday at home against Monmouth. Boys tennis has their first match on Thursday at home against Shore. Golf has their first match tomorrow against Point Pleasant Borough. And finally, girls soccer is hosting a Chipotle fundraiser on April 2nd.
Thank you, ladies. Appreciate that. And now we'll go to our superintendent's report. Mrs. Weldon.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to see you all. We have some exciting recognitions this evening. So I'd like to begin by introducing Mr. Amato, if he would please come up. And is Ms. Skinder here this evening? Okay, we're going to recognize a few students from our TOIS bands. These two students, and you can come up when I call your name, have been accepted into the Central Jersey Music Educators Association Regional Band Ensemble. They have been chosen from over 600 other students who auditioned. Congratulations to Jacob Wiener and Parker Lushine. Please come on up. Absolutely. Parents, if you'd like to take some photos, please come on up. You can stand right in front of the backdrop.
Wait for a second. Maybe you'll get out of your way. You guys can jump right in and take photos when she's going. Good.
Congratulations, students. Okay, next we're going to do a few DECA recognitions, and our DECA chapter has had tremendous success so far, and it is not over yet. They have opportunity for even further success, which I'm sure we will be back here celebrating as we go through the remainder of the year. But I'd like to introduce up Mrs. Kazuba and also the advisors, Ms. Zisa and Ms. Johnson, who are here this evening. Come on up. None of this is possible without you. So first, we'd like to recognize the DECA Chapter of the Year Award. and the State Community Service Project. This is, I'm going to call up the honorees and then talk a little bit about the achievement. If you could join us up here, please. Nahali Patel, Rachel Walsh, Grace Fuller, Ava Archer, Josh Calixty, Ryan Smythe, and Molly Tantrum. These DECA officers in our chapter were recognized for their dedication at the State Career Development Conference, where the chapter was awarded the Gold Level Chapter of the Year. This achievement reflects their hard work in membership, growth, chapter standards, and public activities and DECA Week initiatives. Great work, Spartans, and congratulations on this great honor. Some photos. And advisors, if you would come back after you're done with this photo. And Ms. Kazuba.
Come on up. Yeah, please.
Yeah, parents, please come take photos.
Well done, everybody.
Okay. Advisors, Ms. Kazuba. Okay, we have. We have a few more students in the audience that I'd like to recognize, but I would also like to say that we are most definitely going to have these students back because this is not the end of their journey in DECA. So we had 3 other students who placed 5th overall in the Startup Business Plan written event at the DECA New Jersey State Career Development Conference, and they are moving on to nationals. I think a few of them are here this evening. I'd like to recognize them. Please come up if you're here. Aaron Gravatz, Isabella Olive, and Ian Smythe. Big hands, congratulations. And we can take a photo, please, if you'd like. And we'll have your certificate ready for you after we see how you do at nationals.
Pressure.
I know. Yeah, come on up. Is this Isabella? Come on up. Isabella, please. No photo. Congratulations at your success and best wishes.
Right on time. Good. Perfect. There you go.
Okay, Mr. President, that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you. Wonderful. Well,
You
we
want to
don't
stay?
have to keep, I'm sure you would all love to stay here for the remainder of the board meeting, and you're more than welcome to, but if you have homework or any of those sorts of things that require you to leave, you're more than welcome to do so at this time. But if you'd like to stay, please join us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Did Gary V help him with that, Josh?
Well, that they individually set business plans. There's a team.
Wonderful. All right. Mr. Hastings, School Business Administrator report, please.
I have no additional report this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hastings. Public comment on any item. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters of community interest. Public comment is not a question and answer session. Specific questions can be directed to the administration. The superintendent's contact information is on the podium, and we encourage you to contact her with any questions. Public participation will be governed by the following rules. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 5 minutes in duration. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. The presiding officer may request any person to leave the meeting when that person does not observe reasonable decorum. Would anyone from the public like to comment on anything at this time? Seeing no one present in the audience, Mrs. Conway, did you have anyone in the queue?
No, Mr. President. Yes, Mr. President, I do have someone in the queue. Alex Hayes, please hold. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Alex Hayes, Oakhurst. Forgot to say that at the 7 p.m. meeting. It just occurred to me when you send everybody on their merry way at these monthly meetings, you want everybody to quickly exit the auditorium so that, of course, they don't really hear the real business about finances and cuts and programming and what's going to happen now that we're facing a shortfall. So it's always fun to hear, you may now leave, folks. I know there's a crowd here, but you can go. Maybe you might want to say, hey, if anybody has any public comment, please stick around for a whole 2 minutes, because we are now only going to have the one public comment instead of the two and the one at the end. Just food for thought. That's one comment there. I also find it interesting in noticing that there are new committee responsibilities that were posted, I presume this afternoon, and I will be, asking in a separate email to Mr. Hastings and Mr. McCarthy when these committees were changed, because part of the ethics complaints that have been lobbied against members of this school board revolve around not following AOs from the School Ethics Commission that state if you have a conflict of interest, you should not be on certain committees. And after 3 to 5 years of complaining that this district school board repeatedly does that and violates the advisory opinion, as many on the school board probably know, the SEC issued their ruling today in the latest ethics complaint, which I filed a couple months ago. And I find it curious that suddenly board member Gilman is no longer on the committees that, part of the complaints were that she shouldn't be on because she had family members or other, conflicts. So I'm curious why that happened all of a sudden, not just because Mr. Weinstein is no longer on the board, but I'd love some more clarification as to why these committees changed. And it doesn't go without notice that the timing is fascinating. I do also want to say that the commission today did rule in my ethics commission complaint that Mr. Jeff Weinstein, there is sufficient facts and circumstances to lead a reasonable person to believe there is probable cause to believe there have been allegations of prohibited acts against Mr. Jeffrey Weinstein. 6 counts are moving forward. Ms. Irene Gilman, 3 counts are moving forward. Ms. Denise Parlamas, 1 count is moving forward. And quote, the matter is being transmitted to the Office of Administrative Law for a hearing, and an attorney for the State School Ethics Commission shall prosecute these complaint allegations deemed credible to go forward. I applaud the School Ethics Commission on a smart move, and I look forward to seeing what the OAL hearing and court case will move forward. So once again, 6 more counts going to the OAL for Mr. Weinstein, 3 for Ms. Gilman, and 1 for Ms. Parlamas. Just updating all members of the school board and the public if they had not yet heard. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Hayes. Personnel. Sorry, approval of minutes, Mr. Dalton. Oh, yeah. Do we have any other comments? I apologize. In the queue?
No, Mr. President, no more commenters.
Minutes, Mr. Dalton.
Yes, Mr. President, motion to approve item 5.1, the minutes from the executive session of the 11th.
Do I have a second? Thank you.
This is for item 5.1, Mr. Brady,
Yes.
Mr. Dalton,
Yes.
Mrs. Dam,
Yes.
Mrs. Gilman.
Yes.
Mrs. McGovern,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Talarico,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Personnel, Mrs. McGovern.
Move to approve items 6.1 to 6.8. May I have a second?
Second.
This is all items 6.1 through 6.8. Mr. Brady,
Yes.
I'm missing.
Mr. Dalton,
Yes.
Mrs. Dam,
Yes, but I only see 6.7.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so just for the record, 6.1 to 6.7, I believe.
That's
Oh.
right, that's right.
Sorry, yes, sorry. I amend it to be 6.1 to 6.6. Sorry,
Seven.
7. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
So, Mr. Hastings, would you please just recall the roll of 6.1 to 6.7, just to
certainly.
keep things in order? Thank you.
This is for items 6.1 through 6.7. Mr. Brady,
Yes.
Mr. Dalton,
Yes.
Mrs. Dam.
Yes.
Mrs. Gilman.
Yes.
Mrs. McGovern,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Talarico,
Abstain.
and Mr. McCarthy.
Yes,
Motion's carried.
Sorry about that.
no issue. Financial Management and Resource Services, Mrs. Dam.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to approve 7.1 to 7.11.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Hastings.
This is 7.1 through 7.11. Mr. Brady,
Yes.
Mr. Dalton,
Yes.
Mrs. Dam,
Yes.
Mrs. Gilman,
Yes.
Mrs. McGovern,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Talarico,
Yes.
and Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Instruction, Education, and Student Activities, Mr. Dalton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move items 8.1 through 8.8.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hastings.
This is all items 8.1 to 8.8. Mr. Brady,
Yes.
Mr. Dalton,
Yes.
Mrs. Dam,
Yes.
Mrs. Gilman,
Yes.
Mrs. McGovern,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Talarico,
Yes.
Mr. McCarthy.
Yes.
All items carried.
Policy, Mrs. Gilman.
Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. Move to approve 9.1, the third reading and final revision to the revised or new policies as listed.
Second.
Mr. Hastings.
This is item 9.1. Mr. Brady,
Yes.
Mr. Dalton,
Yes.
Mrs. Dam,
Yes.
Mrs. Gilman,
Yes.
Mrs. McGovern,
Yes.
Mr. Schneider,
Yes.
Ms. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Talarico,
Yes, all except 5830, which is the fundraising. I still think there should be a purpose
Is there-
in the fundraising. So no, for fundraising.
Affirmative or in the negative for a vote or abstain. We are no longer in an opportunity to debate.
I just gave a reason why I'm voting no. So no for that particular one.
Just restrict your comments to that. Thank you.
thank you. Mr. McCarthy,
Yes.
thank you. Motion carries.
Old business. Do we have any old business from the board? Mr. Dalton.
Yes, Mr. McCarthy, I just wanted to share with the board, last Tuesday evening, Mrs. Gilman and myself, we attended the township meeting where they outlined their reasons as to why they're pursuing a new municipal building. We went, of course, because mention was made in the 193-page report about this property here at 163 Monmouth Road. It was a very informative meeting. They provided rationales from engineers, the police department's rationale, the deficiencies that they see with the current building and its ability to be improved. At the end of the meeting, just for our knowledge, not that, we're doing anything at this point, this building was mentioned along with Orchard Plaza on Route 35 as two of the sites based on their, I don't use educator terms, their scoring rubric. That this building and Orchard Plaza were both mentioned as when they scored everything based on accessibility and location and all of that as two of the top sites. Nothing was discussed. Other than that, we were there just as the information session, just like all the residents of town that were there. I'd encourage everyone to take a glance at that 193-page report. It is informative.
Are there any questions or comments from any members of the board regarding what was discussed at the meeting or what Mr. Dalton is reporting out about?
Thank you for sharing.
Wonderful. Any other old business from the board? I do have something to share. So, roughly 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago now, the Legislative Liaison Committee met with Commissioner Arnaud to discuss shared services, and the board did approve discussing potential opportunities for the property here at 163 Monmouth Road. It was a very informative meeting. It was wonderful to have Commissioner Arnaud here to share with the wonderful things that we're accomplishing at this district. And we did share the fact that we're offering a universal pre-K. We shared what we are doing with our reading programs that we have, that we received a wonderful presentation on from Mrs. Shapiro, what we're doing with our math programs that we received a wonderful presentation on. Commissioner Arnaud shared with us some programs that he has developed for after-school programs to bring students from suburban locations in Monmouth County and more urban locations in Monmouth County to Allaire State Park, and how that was an after-school program that he would like to offer to the Ocean Township Recreation Department and some things like that. And that he would pursue considering what could be done about this property as well in a way that would benefit the town or the county. So based on what Mr. Dalton has just said and what was said in that meeting, we now have two potential avenues to go down as a board considering this property. Once again, for the public, I would like to make clear that the board has not voted to take any action regarding this property. Nothing has been decided, but that these topics have been discussed, and it has been made clear that, we do desire to do something with this property that would be of good use to the town and to the district. And we are making that known to the town and to the county level officials. So this is a step in the right direction, although I would like to make it very well known that this is likely a long path to go down, right? And so we've only taken the first step here, but it's an exciting one nonetheless. And Mrs. Gilman was present with me for that meeting. I don't know, Mrs. Gilman, did you have anything that I might have missed that you'd like to add?
No, I thought that was a good summary. His discussion of open space, I thought, was also excellent. The fact that the county has been buying up a lot of open space and then providing beautiful parks for the people of Monmouth County. And if there's one thing that Monmouth County is known for, it's its beautiful parks. So it was very interesting to hear that possibility thrown out as well. So you're right, we have several avenues to pursue, and it's not going to be a very quick process, but we'll take it step by step.
Any comments or questions from any members of the board regarding these topics? All right. Any other old business from the board? Any new business from the board? Very well. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.